Donald Trump is trying to claim simultaneously that he doesn't have the power to keep the government open, but he does have the power to send troops to American cities. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. Most people, you guys, think the idea of shutting down the government is bad, except for Donald Trump, who has a surprising take. He thinks it's awesome.
President Trump posted this morning that he'll meet today with his budget director, quote, to determine which of the many Democrat agencies, most of which are a political scam, he recommends to be cut, and whether or not those cuts will be temporary or permanent. I can't believe the radical left Democrats gave me this unprecedented opportunity.
A lot of good can come down from shutdowns. We can get rid of a lot of things that we didn't want, and they'd be Democrat things. When you shut it down, you have to do layoffs. So we'd be laying off a lot of people that are going to be very affected, and they're Democrats. They're going to be Democrats.
All right, first of all, what do you mean Democrat agencies? Is there a federal Department of Wokeness I'm not aware of? Or like, what's the logo even? A protester sipping a matcha in a Prius? Oh, you guys, I think I know what happened. Maybe Trump heard there was a Department of Transportation and misunderstood. It used to be called the Department of Portation, but then they made it trans. Now there's transportation and cisportation. We're going to put a stop to it. Everyone knows buses are girls and trains are boys like Thomas, Edward, Henry, and Gordon. Also, you think only Democrats work in the departments you want to eliminate? I don't know which Department of Education ran your school, but my high school shop teacher was definitely a Republican. I'll never forget it, Mr. Wilson. We were making a table once, and he said, "I need some thick wood." And I said, "That's what she said," and the whole class laughed. And he just stared at me, and he said, "That's funny, Myers. We had a nice guy like you and Nam, real clown, always joking around, until we found him face down in the mud on Hill 875. His last words were, 'We need backup. They're coming. They're coming.'" And then everyone in the classroom got real quiet, and I said, "That's what she said." I was very, very beloved. The point is, Trump has been bragging about how awesome a shutdown would be, and so have his supporters.
I'm a huge believer in these government shutdowns.
Something else amazing to see. There is a government shutdown right now, and we are cheering for that. We say, yes, thank you, government shutdown.
Shut the government down, lay them off, purge the government of these deep state bureaucrats, and we'll wake up in a month with a far more leaner, efficient system.
Let's not pretend that the idea of a government shutdown isn't somewhat alluring to most of us, as we all dream of ways to make that massive inflated tumor in Washington smaller.
I mean, it kind of feels like, a government shutdown is mostly the stuff you need and kind of gets rid of a lot of the stuff you don't.
President Trump is going to use that as an opportunity to send pink slips and to get rid of left-wing bureaucrats who are imposing left-wing priorities that are contrary to President Trump's priorities. I think that is fantastic.
Who are these left-wing bureaucrats imposing left-wing priorities? I certainly can't remember any left-wing policies being announced. Did I miss it? Are the banks closed on Che Guevara's birthday? Did they make the Washington Monument into a windmill? Active duty soldiers aren't getting paid during the shutdown, and these guys are calling it fantastic. How come Republicans never get painted as anti-troops? Can you imagine the Fox News freakout that would happen if Joe Biden had said, "I love it when the government shuts down. I get to fire a bunch of Republicans. Speaking of fire, I'm using the time off to paint flames on the side of my Stingray. Yeah, I'm gonna put in hydraulics also." Can we just go back to this part?
We say, yes, thank you, government shutdown.
You guys need better things to cheer for. You're cheering for a government shutdown the way 5-year-olds cheer for pizza rolls. Yes, thank you, Totino's. If you want something to cheer for, pick up a hobby or get into a sports team, except for the Jets, who are 0-5. And you guys, it's so sad here because every member of our crew is a Mets and Jets fan who thought the Jets would cheer them up after the Mets season ended in disaster. And it's just so sad to watch because thinking the Jets will be a cure for the Mets is like trying to cure a hangover by hitting yourself in the head with a 2x4. I mean, it's so sad. They're already talking about the Rangers and the hockey season. And I'm like, dudes, it's 85 degrees outside. The point is, Republicans were crowing about the shutdown, but then they must have seen the polling, which showed that more Americans blame the GOP for the shutdown. Because over the weekend, Trump suddenly changed his tune on those layoffs he was so excited about.
What about the layoffs? You could. Well, I call them Democrat layoffs. They're Democrat layoffs. They're causing it. We're ready to go back. It's up to them. Anybody laid off, that's because of the Democrats.
This is the world we're living in. The same guy who says he loves the shutdown because it lets him fire Democrats also says the shutdown is the Democrats' fault because he has to fire people. He's talking about this shutdown the way Smeagol talks about the One Ring. We loves the shutdown. We can fire Democrats. No, we hates the shutdown. We hate the shutdown. And you said I didn't have a Smeagol. You said I didn't have a Smeagol. I thought you guys said you were going to fire all the left-wing bureaucrats at Democrat agencies. Now you're blaming Democrats for those layoffs? It's such a shame. We wanted to keep all the woke Marxist bureaucrats at the Department of Critical Race Theory, but unfortunately, Chuck Schumer made me fire them all. I remember he came up to me, big Chuck, strong Chuck, tears pouring from his eyes down to one of his little readers on the tip of his nose, and he said to me, Mr. President, tell them you're fired. And it says, that doesn't sound like something I would say. Trump, as usual, wants to have it both ways. He claims he doesn't have the power to keep the government open, but he does have the power to send troops who are currently not being paid, FYI, to American cities over the objections of local officials because of stuff he sees on TV.
President Trump attempts to send U.S. troops into Portland and Chicago against the objections of the governors of those states.
Oregon's governor says troops aren't needed. The Illinois governor said in a statement, quote, "We must now start calling this what it is, Trump's invasion."
Portland is burning to the ground. It's insurrectionists all over the place. It's Antifa. Portland is burning to the ground. You have agitators, insurrectionists. All you have to do is look at the television, turn on your television, read your newspaper. It's burning to the ground.
What television are you watching? Did Trump sit on the remote and accidentally turn on the Yule log? It's so sad, the wood is on fire, that's what she said. And Portland is like one big fireplace and the whole time Christmas music is playing in the background and it's too early for that, October. As someone who is currently on TV and has worked in TV for over 20 years, let me tell you, don't believe everything you see on TV. I mean, even on this show is called Late Night, but it's like 4 in the afternoon right now. And you see these buildings behind me? That's not really the city. And by the way, I don't blame you if you didn't know that. They just told me. Every night after the taping ends, I just stand here and I wave at everybody while the crew laughs behind my back, and I assume they were still laughing at the jokes from the show, but no, it turns out this is a picture. And I mean, of course it's a picture, right? New Yorkers aren't awake at 1 a.m. with their lights on. They're all awake at 1 a.m. staring at the ceiling with the lights off, listening to someone outside scream, "Hey, yo, Anthony, where's our Uber?" And then someone else yells, "Hey, I thought Anthony got the Uber." And then a third person yells, "Hey, I'm also Anthony, and I got the Lyft." And then finally you open the window and you yell, "What's your problem?" And then they all start to cry and they scream, "We're all Mets and Jets fans." And you just feel bad, so you close the window and you go back to looking at the ceiling. Of course, this whole thing is delusional and unhinged. The Portland thing, not the whole window thing we just did. Portland and Chicago are not war zones. They're normal American cities going about normal life, and the protests are well within the control of local officials. For example, a visit to downtown Portland made it plain the U.S. president's impression of the city is entirely divorced from reality. There were just 4 protesters outside the ICE field office, including one who wore a chicken costume draped in an American flag. Generally speaking, war zones don't have guys in chicken costumes. Of course, if they did, Trump would probably respond with our own animal-based military unit. This is the president in the situation. Portland is under attack. You have authorization to deploy the Navy SEALs. Trump's unhinged fantasy of war-ravaged cities is drawn entirely from stuff he sees on Fox News, and that is not a legitimate basis for invading one state with National Guard troops from another state, as a Trump-appointed judge ruled over the weekend.
A Trump-appointed judge delivering a legal blow to the president, again blocking the deployment of National Guard troops to Portland, Oregon, and making it clear that no troops should be sent there, not from California or from any state.
Trump criticized the judge and insisted that those troops are necessary.
Well, if they put judges like that on, I wasn't served well by the people that pick judges, I can tell you. Things like that are just too bad. I appointed the judge and he goes like that, so I wasn't served well. Obviously, I don't know the judge.
What do you mean, obviously you don't know? You appointed the judge. And why do you keep saying the people who pick judges? That's you. You pick the judges. Every week we let an intern pick a judge. Last week it was Kyle from Penn State. Everybody loves Kyle. This is the perfect microcosm of Trumpism, claiming he's all-powerful to crack down on dissent while also insisting it's not his fault if the government can't function. Republicans bragged about firing people, then did a 180 when they realized their poll numbers were
burning to the ground.
This has been a closer look.
It's a fight-off!